Welcome to Navigating Complex Divorce and Parenting Issues with attorney Melanie Walls.
Welcome to Navigating Complex Divorce and Parenting Issues with attorney Melanie Walls. Melanie is an OSBA certified specialist in family relations law whose work includes mediation and parenting coordination for families navigating difficult transitions. I'm Leanne Lyon, and today we're talking about parenting coordination. Melanie will explain what it is, when it's appropriate, and how it helps reduce conflict for children and parents. Melanie, for families who have never heard the term before, how do you usually describe what parenting coordination is and the purpose it serves in Ohio cases?
So parenting coordination is a relatively recent tool that domestic relations courts are using. They require the parent coordinator to go through Supreme Court training to specifically handle high conflict parenting cases. These cases are typically where parents are filing motion after motion and arguing over parenting time and are frequent flyers in the court system. This is a tool that the court puts in place to have a parent coordinator sort of mediate all of these issues and keep the parents out of the court system.
Fascinating. Well, what types of situations tend to lead a court or parents themselves to consider bringing in a parenting coordinator?
A lot of it evolves around interpretations of the terms and provisions of their shared parenting plan. Sometimes it's conflict over extracurricular activities. Should the child play in this sport? Who's going to pay for it? What if it falls on the other parent's time? Who's going to transport the child? Those are types of things that you see. Holidays are also a high conflict time. Should the child come at 6? Should the child come at 8? Are we going to the grandparents' house? Are we staying at mom's house? Those are types of things that you see as a parent coordinator on a routine basis that parents just simply cannot agree on.
So we understand that parenting coordinators don't replace the court, but they do handle recurring issues. What kinds of other day-to-day disagreements are they typically asked to address?
So extracurriculars, I would say, is probably one of the most frequent topics that come before a parent coordinator. For example, if you have a father that's very sports oriented, he wants the child to play basketball, baseball, volleyball, and you have a mom that's very theater oriented or dance oriented or cheer oriented, and she wants the daughter to participate in cheer or dance or theater, and they both dig their heels in and say, no, mom says, no, my daughter's not playing in any sports. And dad says, no, my daughter's not doing ballet or theater. That's where I would come in as the parent coordinator. I would get dad's position, why he feels that sports are in the best interest of the daughter. I would get mom's position, why she feels that the daughter should participate in dance or cheer or theater. And then I would also meet with the child, trying to keep it as neutral as possible, not talk about mom or dad, just, what are your interests? What are your likes? What kind of extracurricular activities do you want to participate in? And sometimes I'll even make them give me a list, ranking like number 1, 2, and 3. Like if you could only play or participate in 3 activities, what would they be? And I may use that list. And then I may try to go back to mom and dad and say, hey, these are her interests. What do you think? Can we agree on one of these top 3? If they still can't reach an agreement, then I issue a decision and say, your daughter is going to participate in theater. Then if either parent doesn't like that decision, then they can file objections and have the magistrate either agree with my parenting coordinator decision or override it and make a different decision.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility, but I love how you really approach it with such care in taking into consideration all the parties. In higher conflict or high asset cases, I know schedules can get really complicated. A lot of the things that you mentioned often include even daily practice. And then when you add on multiple residences, travel, extracurriculars, caregivers, etc., how does a parenting coordinator keep all those moving parts organized and consistent for the child?
I think you hit the nail on the head. Organization is key. You have to know all the moving parts. You have to know mom's work schedule. You have to know dad's work schedule. Are they using a nanny to transport the children to extracurricular activities? What extracurricular activities are the children involved in? What other things come into play? Do they have multiple children in the home that they have to get one child to, football practice and another child to, baseball practice? You really have to know the family dynamic and all the moving parts in order to be able to make a decision that's in the best interest of the child and that works for that particular family.
Parents sometimes worry about involving a coordinator means losing control over their decisions. How do you explain the boundaries of the coordinator's authority and what remains within the parent's control?
Counties have local rules that address the role of a parent coordinator, and they are very, very specific. So, when a parent coordinator is appointed, the court puts on an entry and it lists out exactly word for word what the parenting coordinator can and can't do. We cannot make major schedule changes, only the court can do that. We can make schedule adjustments that don't alter the basic parenting schedule, but we cannot completely change a parenting schedule. We can adjust holidays, we can adjust pickup and delivery times, but we can't completely take away, a holiday. For example, we've got Christmas right around the corner. I can't say, mom's going to get Christmas and dad's going to get Christmas Eve. What I can say is, well, dad's going to get Christmas Eve starting at 4 instead of 6 because that works with all the family activities that are going on. Or I could say, you know what, mom is going to get the kids, at noon on Christmas Day until 8 because that's when her family is going to be all together at the same place celebrating their holiday. But I cannot make major changes to the schedule. I think the best way to put it is I can tweak the schedule to sort of fit what is happening. And that may be just for a particular year. It may just be for the 2025 Christmas. And there may be a different set of circumstances for the 2026 Christmas. It's really problem solving and trying to come up with a solution that works for everyone, that doesn't require them to go back to court, spend a lot of time on attorney fees and litigation, and take up court time that could be better suited for other issues versus tweaking a parenting schedule or a parenting issue.
Well, from a practical standpoint, what qualities should parents look for when selecting a parenting coordinator, especially when their case involves these complex dynamics or long-standing communication challenges?
I think the most important thing to look at is experience.
Mm.
I don't think you want someone that's only been in the family law arena for 1 or 2 or 3 years. If I were picking a parent coordinator, I would want someone with at least 10 years of experience because they've been able to think outside the box. They've been able to problem solve family issues for 10 years now. So they've got a lot of tools in their toolbox that someone right out of law school may not have yet because they haven't had a particular fact scenario come before them where they've had to come up with a solution.
Well, as we're wrapping up here, um, and without naming names, of course, but could you walk us through a moment from your work where parenting coordination helped reduce ongoing conflict or provided more stability for a child who is caught in the middle of repeated disputes?
Yes, and I think that comes along the extracurricular activity realm. because that seems to be a high conflict area for parents. So I had some children whose parents couldn't agree on extracurricular activities. I had them each come in. I had them make me a list of their top 3 activities. And we talked about each one and why they liked it. And then actually issued a decision and said, this is going to be the spring activity for this child. This is going to be the fall activity for this child. And I think it really helped the kids know that, for the upcoming school year, I'm going to be playing, soccer in the fall, and I'm going to be playing softball in the spring. And it's really helpful to a child to know, children like routine and they thrive in knowing what's happening, and to know that, hey, mom and dad aren't going to be fighting about my activities. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to do soccer and then I'm going to do softball. I think that really helps the children if you can get those things laid out for them for the entire school year all at once.
I love your heart for all of this. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you.
Well, and that is it for today's episode of Navigating Complex Divorce and Parenting Issues with attorney Melanie Walls. To learn more about Melanie's work or schedule a consultation, visit melaniewallslaw.com. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to like, subscribe to the show, and leave a review if you found this episode helpful.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.